My name is Thomas Keown. This is my wife Yuri, our daughter Noah, and our three-legged dog, Mabel. And this is a story about hope. Many hopes, really. And I suppose it starts with me. But where it goes is up to you. I lead an organisation called Many Hopes, rescuing children from abuse and helping them get all the way to college. I live in New York City now, but I sound like this because I grew up in Northern Ireland on a small sheep farm. In school, I was pretty uncool. I was teased for having big ears and a long chin and a country accent. My dad was both a shepherd and a carpenter. My mother worked in the same shop from age 16 to 66. My childhood was small-town idyllic, except the world was blowing up around me. The Troubles, as we called it, started long before I was born and affected everybody I knew. One Sunday at church, both of my friend's parents were blown up by a bomb as he stood between them. As I grew up, I saw more horrible things happen to more innocent families, and I was angry. But I believed there could be a solution, and I wanted to be part of it. I became the first of my family to go to university. I was elected to student council and then a job working for the team implementing the peace agreement for Northern Ireland in the Houses of Parliament. The fighting ceased. Our leader was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, and now anything felt possible. I moved to America. I was making money writing opinion columns and appearing on talk shows. I travelled the world so much, they made me a nameplate. But my entire life changed direction on one vacation, to Kenya. On a train from Nairobi to Mombasa, I passed the largest trash heap I'd ever seen. It was crawling with dozens of small children, eating the filth they were climbing over. I wondered, there are so many charities. Why are children still living like this? Suddenly, my vacation became an investigation. That's when I met Gift. Gift was 6 years old when her mother died from AIDS.
I became an adult at a young age because I was taking care of my sick mother and my younger brothers. And I was with my brother, his name was Kasim. We were playing with dolls and he held me. I was like, what's wrong? He was shaking. I was like, what's wrong? And he held my hand. I didn't know that is how people die at that time.
She was begging for food on the streets, carrying her only remaining family member, her baby brother. She didn't know that he was also already dead as she carried him around, strapped to her back. Gift had nothing except for something she shouldn't have: hope. Like me, she believed there could be a solution, and she wanted to be part of it.
I wished to be like other kids who are going to school at my age, and I couldn't afford that.
She was smart, but the problem was she didn't have the money she needed to get to school. Education existed, she just couldn't access it. Gift introduced me to dozens of other children with the same desire and the same problem she had. Her best friend was Brenda.
My father had passed away and my mother was not in a position to take care of us. So my family decided that I come to stay with an aunt of mine who didn't have kids. My aunt was abusing me. I had wounds all over. So I just ran away, not even knowing where I'm going, just trying to survive. I couldn't stay there anymore.
Luckily, a lady met me and she was so concerned about the bruises that I had on my body. Took me to a children officer who built up a case and we went to court. when I was first in court and someone was there fighting for my rights, then I started thinking, I can help some other children just as the man who represented me helped me.
I went back to Boston determined to get Brenda and Gift to school. I wrote my weekly opinion column about them, and letters poured in from people who wanted to do something too. So I set a meeting, and 26 of them showed up. We called ourselves Many Hopes. But the problem was 42% of Americans didn't trust charity, and neither did we, so we had to be different. We weren't going to fund charity, we were going to fund survivors to be the solution. Our model was based on 3 commitments. Number 1, survivor-driven change. We would find and fund local survivors to lead where they are. Number 2, the long term. We'd support children from rescue all the way to college. We would reach a few now, they would reach the millions later. Number 3, total transparency. 100% of any dollar anybody donated would go directly to raising children from injustice to influence. We'd find other people to pay for overhead so every supporter was 100% certain where their money went. Then things really took off. Johnny threw a party, Lydia organised an art show, my granny donated her 85th birthday, press started to write about us, I quit my job and travelled the country on buses, sleeping anywhere I could to raise money any way we could. Friends, families and strangers came together to build homes for Brenda and Gift and dozens of other girls in Kenya. Then we built a Cambridge-accredited elementary school for 880 girls and boys. Thousands of people around the world built the school by buying 1 brick at a time. The children I'd met received the education they needed. And people like Lindsay went even further.
So I took a trip to Kenya, and that's when I met Brenda. The last night, they asked all the girls to draw what they want to be when they grow up. And Brenda specifically drew a picture of being a lawyer and said, I want to be able to fight for the rights of all of these girls in Kenya and stand up for the abuse and all the things that continue to happen. And I thought it was such an opportunity that if I could just be a small part of this journey with her to go through school and then go through law school to see those dreams come true. I mean, it was a no-brainer.
I pray that I can overcome all the challenges that are ahead of me so that I can be a lawyer and practice what I've been dreaming of.
But we couldn't stop there because 258 million children can't access school. They're looking in from the outside. And no school means being prey to traffickers, sexual abuse, homelessness, hunger. And 10 million children are in slavery today. That's more than at any time in history. This is a worldwide crisis of access. So we kept going, finding and equipping survivors all around the world. And more than 15 years later, extraordinary survivors are rescuing and educating thousands of others around them. In Ghana, that's James. At 6 years old, James was sold into slavery on Lake Volta.
I realized I was enslaved the first day I got to the lake.
Lake Volta is the largest man-made lake in the world and the epicenter of the commercial fishing industry in Ghana, powered by child slaves. Because it costs less to buy a child than to buy a net, 21,000 children dive off boats into murky waters to untangle nets from trees, losing their eyes and losing their lives.
I remember other children going to school and me wishing to go to school with them. I remember being trapped by nets under the lake and no more toys. I remember a snake bite, being hit with a paddle, and all the time I wanted to escape, all the time. I saw girls being raped. I saw boys being raped nearly every night. I want to hand it.
When he was 13, James escaped and put himself all the way through college. He became a banker, but quit his job to go back to the lake where he had been enslaved to rescue children still stuck there.
Let's go now. We have to go first.
He's rescued 1,800 children from that lake so far, and because of him, many of those children, like Stephen, have joined him and rescued hundreds more.
I became a change agent. I was the first to then bring school in that community, first to begin to transform the lives of other children.
In Malawi, it's Annie.
I'm Annie Alanis, and what else do I say about myself? I'm a gynecological oncologist, so I take care of women that have cancer. I do surgeries for those cancers, and I also give chemotherapy.
Annie grew up sharing one room with her 8 siblings. Statistically, she shouldn't have amounted to anything. She wasn't just poor, she was a girl. But Donna from Texas met Annie on a mission trip and offered her the chance at an education.
I was told I was insane and it was crazy. I was bringing this unknown village child into my house. And yes, it's one kid, but to one kid, that's huge. But she ended up the homecoming queen, the Miss Spirit queen, and the valedictorian of that high school.
Now every year she climbs Mount Kilimanjaro to raise funds for children who were once like her. Every year. She has also climbed to the top of her field as chief resident of her hospital in Houston. And back in Malawi, she's built 12 children's homes, a primary school for 400, a church and a clinic treating 35,000 patients a year. Annie is giving tens of thousands access to the same opportunity she was once given by Donna.
I think the story that really affected me, Mom had showed up with this child who had had diarrhea, and she had walked like 15 miles maybe to come to the clinic, and she was very dehydrated. And my dad knows this procedure where you can do, they're called interosseous needles, where you can actually put one through the bone when you can't find an IV because the child is so dehydrated. He couldn't start a central line because he didn't have any of those things, and I knew those things existed here, but they didn't exist there. So I kept throwing him ideas of things that he's like, oh, don't have anything for that. Nope, don't have anything for that. So now I was starting to see all the things he didn't have at his disposal. And then now it was becoming clear to me the gap. And I just remember feeling desperate because, you know, what else could we do? She was becoming more and more pale and less responsive, and was just sort of laying there. And I think I had exhausted everything that I could think of from the limited medical knowledge that I knew, and it became clear that we weren't gonna help this baby. And so I was there with my dad and watched her die. Her mom wailing, and she was by herself. My dad was helping her tie the baby on her back. I realized like this woman was gonna walk back home for 15 miles like with a dead baby on her back. Really was healthy 48 hours before that. I couldn't take it. I just lost it because it's just so senseless. I remember the nurse coming and saying, oh, it's okay, you don't have to cry. This happens here all the time. But I was like, why? Why does it have to be? You know, I mean, what makes that baby less important on the planet? And I think that is some of the things that drive me every day, because I don't know why being born in Malawi just stacks everything against you, that just makes you a non-entity. When you don't see yourself in the face of someone and you can't see you in their shoes, it is very difficult for people to identify themselves with that as something that could happen to them and not just look at it as an African problem. It's all of our problem.
Lindsay agreed. She solved Brenda's college problem by paying her tuition.
I was in a point in my life where I felt like God had given me these finances and this money, but I just didn't know what I wanted to do with it.
After years of school, then college, Brenda graduated with a law degree, but then had to take the bar exam, which only 9% of students pass. And Brenda failed. and kept failing for 4 years. But she persisted and had the support to keep trying.
Today is the day I got admitted to the bar, and I'm happy and I'm excited. And thanks to you for supporting me in my education. I'm very happy, I'm very excited.
My hope as a lawyer and as a citizen of Kenya is to see a civilized Kenya without corruption and justice for all, not only children, but justice for all.
Brenda had finally earned the right to represent children in front of the highest court in the land, and she started immediately.
Since I was not able to help myself, but I'm in a position now to help someone. There's some kind of fulfillment in me that makes me feel powerful and strong. It was my destiny to be an attorney.
Nobody cares more about justice than somebody who has experienced injustice. So the solution is right in front of us, our children. Because in the fight, survivors get tired last. Many Hopes is providing education from Ghana to Guatemala, from Kenya to Bolivia. But we are just getting started. There are a few times in our lives when we get to play our small part in something much bigger than ourselves. I believe that with your help, every one of those 258 million children can get safely to school. So we've created a way for you to help do that if you'd like. It's called The Rising. The Rising is a community of faithful givers who provide safety and school every month of the year. When we rescue a child and ask, "What do you want?" the answer is always the same: take me to school. $20 a month can send a child to elementary school. $30 a month can send a child to high school. And that child can impact their entire community. When you join The Rising at $20 or whatever you can, 100% of your monthly membership goes directly to providing a child with the education that equipped James to rescue 1,800 and Annie to treat 35,000, so your impact never stops growing. And we report back to you every month. Gift is in college now because one person invested in her. She's been elected to student council. Donna invested in Annie. Lindsay invested in Brenda. You can be the one person who invests in the next extraordinary life. For the cost of a streaming service and a sandwich, you can send the next Brenda to school. Or if you can do more, so can we, until our dots expand to millions of children with all their many hopes, redefining their futures and helping others do the same. We know how to rescue children. We have the schools, we have the classrooms, we know the teachers. We just need your help to reach the next child. I'm an Irish farm boy. I can't do what James can do. I can't do what Annie can do. But I've experienced how one person joining with lots of others can make huge things happen. It has changed my life, and I invite you to let it change yours too. Come, rise with us. Send a child to school today. Join The Rising for $20 or whatever you can at manyhopes.org. Rise.